March 22, 1965. Dearest Suzie, I got 2 letters from you today and was real happy to get them. I'm surprised that Brian even remembers his dad, much less cry for me. The last 2 days were pretty quiet for us. We went out and escorted a general all around today. It was very boring. I played 2 games of Pinochle last night and 2 tonight. I'm just about played out. Charlie is the same. If he survives this year, I still plan to bring him home. Well, I hate to write such a short letter, but there isn't much going on. Tell Billy that I am pleased with his grades, but I agree with you that he could do better. I love you all and miss you very much. All my love. Bill. I can recall 2 of the first stories I was told about my grandfather's time in Vietnam. The first brings my father to tears. He can't manage to tell the story straight without laughing. Popi was flying on an attack mission, and one of his side gunners was shooting a lot at the VC on the ground. Popi had to quickly turn to avoid something, and the helicopter rocked with the turn. As a result, a shell from the machine gun the man was firing managed to slide into his pants and settle near his testicles. The punchline of the story is when the man angrily tells my dad at the reunion that they were at that my grandpa is the reason he only has 1 ball. Meanwhile, my grandfather sat there, unamused. I'm sure he credits himself for the man's survival. The second story isn't as funny. In fact, it's quite heroic, noble. The kind of story a kid tells about their dad when their dad is the coolest guy in the world and everyone should be proud of him. They were flying information and shooting rockets at a village. As Popi went in to allow his rocketeer to fire, a woman stepped outside of a hut and held up a baby. Popi quickly flew out of formation and back to base. When all was said and done, his commanding officer was angry with him and proceeded to chew him out for his inability to follow orders. Quote, calling him everything but a good Christian, as my dad put it. When the man finished, Popi pulled out his pistol, held it to the man's throat, and said that if he ever wanted him to blow up kids again, or if he ever spoke to him in that manner once more, he'd shoot him dead on the spot. Popi only told this story after they saw the man at a reunion, and he was nice to my grandfather. Popi still hated his guts that many years later. With no way to prove the story true or contest it, I'm left with a story. Perhaps it is true. My grandfather is a noble hero, fighting against orders to protect the innocent. Maybe he was already racked with guilt after he bombed the orphanage and didn't know about it until after the fact. Perhaps he saw the face of one of his own kids on the ground, being held up by the woman. What's important is that I've been told the story many times and by many family members. Are they using it to justify what he did over there? To paint him as one of the good guys? Or maybe they're telling it because it's foundational to their understanding of his time away. When you're given nothing, you're left to your imagination. What's true? Would anyone's perception of him change if this wasn't true? What's more important, the authenticity of the story or the perception of Popi as a hero, as someone who would rather kill his own commanding officer instead of killing a child? Upon reflection, it's likely that these 2 stories could have only occurred when he was with the Cobras, when he was spending more time with rockets and machine guns than he was around bandages and ambulances. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around his decision to join the Cobras. Why put yourself in greater danger? Why allow boredom to consume your heart instead of fear? The photo I chose for today shows 3 Huey helicopters flying in formation. The one on the left has a door gunner hanging outside of it. I'm Alex Lowy, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to this episode of Dearest Suzie, and receiving messages from the past that my Popi wrote exactly 60 years ago. I sincerely appreciate your time and interest. Please consider following the podcast on your preferred platform, and if you're enjoying it, I kindly ask that you take the time to rate the show and leave a review. Also, please follow the project on YouTube, X, and Instagram. All likes, comments, shares, and reviews will help grow the reach of this story. The links for these things should be in the description of this episode. Please feel free to email me at dearestsuziepodcast@gmail.com if you have anything you'd like to say. I'd love to chat or to hear about your stories as well. Thank you for listening, and God bless.